Fans have been going crazy over Johnny Depp's latest surprise appearance, and one tiny detail keeps coming up again and again in every clip. At San Diego Comic-Con just days ago, he stepped out fully in character as Ebenezer Scrooge, and almost no one recognized him at first. The heavy aging makeup, the gray sideburns, the way he moved with that cane. People were staring and only realized it was him when he started speaking those classic lines. That single transformation is what everyone is talking about right now. The moment the video started circulating online, it became clear that something special had happened in San Diego. People who watched the clips over and over began pointing out the same thing. It was not just that Johnny Depp had shown up, it was how completely he had disappeared into the role of Ebenezer Scrooge. The makeup and the physical choices were so thorough that even people standing a few feet away had to take a second look before the realization hit them. That second look is the detail fans cannot stop talking about. Outside the temporary Victorian set built in the Gaslamp Quarter, the atmosphere already felt different. Fake snow drifted down around a shop front labeled Scrooge and Marley. Costume performers moved through the street while holiday music played softly in the background. A crowd had gathered long before anyone knew who might appear. Then the door opened and a figure in a dark overcoat and top hat stepped out leaning on a cane. The face was lined and pale with heavy gray sideburns and thick brows. The posture was slightly hunched. For several long seconds, the people closest to the barrier simply stared. Only when the figure spoke did the recognition spread through the group like a wave. He stayed completely in character. When someone called out a greeting, he answered with the dry, clipped tone that belongs to the miser in the classic story. He asked the crowd whether they had no jobs and remarked on how much spare time they seemed to have. The line drew laughter and cheers because it was delivered with such commitment. Fans dressed as characters from Johnny Depp's earlier films stood nearby, and he addressed them without breaking the performance. One person in an Edward Scissorhands costume received a concerned question about practical daily life that only the character would ask. Another dressed as Captain Jack Sparrow was offered candy with the same grumpy dignity. Each exchange stayed inside the world of the story, and the people watching reacted with pure delight. The transformation itself is what keeps drawing comments. The aging effects were not subtle. The skin texture, the shape of the cheeks, the color of the hair, and the way the mouth sat in a permanent slight downturn all worked together. Even the walk was adjusted. Every step looked deliberate and a little stiff, as if the character carried the weight of many winters. Viewers who paused the videos frame by frame noted how the eyes still belonged to the actor they knew, yet everything around them had been carefully altered. That balance is the detail that feels most impressive. It is not a mask that hides the person completely. It is a full physical commitment that lets the person remain visible while the character takes over. Later the same day, the surprise continued inside the convention center. During a panel that had nothing to do with the new film, the lights suddenly changed. A short monologue began, and the same figure walked onto the stage holding a candle that had burned low. He moved through the space speaking as Scrooge once more, then exited while the first trailer for the film played. The trailer opens with images of past roles and then settles on the new look. The first line spoken on screen is simple and direct. It lands with extra weight because the audience has just watched the living version of that character walk among them only hours earlier. Social media filled with the same observations from different angles. Some people focused on the makeup craftsmanship. Others talked about the decision to remain in character for the entire public appearance. Many simply said they had not expected to feel so much emotion from a promotional moment. The videos show crowds pressing forward phones, raised faces lit with recognition and then with smiles. No one appears to be performing for the camera. The reactions look spontaneous. That honesty is part of why the clips keep spreading. The film itself is a reimagining of the familiar Christmas story directed by T. West and scheduled for release later this year. The cast includes several well-known names, but the center of attention remains the central performance. The promotional choice to present the character in the real world before any formal panel felt consistent with the kind of immersive work Johnny Depp has always been drawn to. Instead of standing on a stage in ordinary clothes and talking about the role, he simply became the role in front of anyone who happened to be walking past. Fans who have followed his career for years noted how natural the commitment looked. The voice, the posture, the small gestures with the cane and the candle all fitted together without visible effort. Even when he handed out candy or muttered under his breath, the character never slipped. That consistency is another detail people keep mentioning. In an age when many public appearances feel carefully managed, this one felt like a pure piece of performance that the audience was allowed to share. Clips from different phones capture slightly different moments. One shows the figure peering through a frosted window before stepping outside. Another catches the exact second a fan realizes who is standing there. A third records the soft laughter that follows a particularly dry remark. Each short video adds another layer to the same observation. The transformation was complete enough that recognition arrived as a surprise rather than as an expectation. That delayed recognition is the detail that gives the whole event its emotional charge. The pop-up set itself helps sell the illusion. The Victorian details, the soft lighting, the drifting snow, and the period costumes created a pocket of another time in the middle of a busy convention district. When the central figure emerged, the environment already supported the performance. People who arrived early and waited for more than an hour said the anticipation made the eventual appearance land even harder. The wait became part of the story they later told. Inside Hall hates the reaction was louder. The sudden change in lighting, the appearance of the figure, and the short time spent on stage produced an immediate roar of recognition and applause. The trailer that followed used the same visual language. The aging makeup, the costume, and the careful physical work all appear on screen exactly as they did on the street. The promotional strategy and the finished footage feel like two parts of one continuous idea. Viewers who study the footage closely point out small choices that make the performance feel lived in. The way the hands rest on the cane, the slight tilt of the head when listening, the controlled pace of each step. None of these details call attention to themselves, yet together they complete the picture. That quiet completeness is what many people say they noticed first. It is not flashy, it is simply thorough. The response across fan communities has been consistent. People share the clips with captions that focus on the craft rather than on spectacle. Comments talk about respect for the work, the joy of seeing a full commitment, and the pleasure of watching something unexpected unfold in real time. The conversation stays centered on the moment itself. The detail of the unrecognizable, yet still recognizable transformation becomes the shared reference point. For those who have watched Johnny Depp move through many different characters over the years, this appearance feels familiar in the best way. The willingness to alter posture, voice, and physical presence until the character sits comfortably in the body has always been part of the approach. Seeing that same approach applied in a public space without a camera rolling for a film scene gave the moment an extra layer of sincerity. The performance existed for the people standing there and for the phones that happened to be recording. The timing added to the effect. The appearance took place without advance announcement. Fans who were already in the area for other events simply found themselves part of something unplanned. That lack of warning meant the reaction stayed genuine. No one had prepared a response. They simply responded. The videos capture that unfiltered quality, and it is one reason they continue to be watched and shared. As more angles surface, the same core observation keeps returning. The makeup and the physical work were strong enough that the first reaction was confusion, followed quickly by delight. That sequence of feelings is what fans keep describing. It is the detail that turns a standard promotional visit into a memorable, shared experience. The figure who stepped out of the doorway looked like a character from a different century, and only after the voice and the eyes registered did the recognition complete itself. The film will reach theaters in November. Until then, the Comic-Con footage remains the first extended look at the finished performance style. People are already rewatching the street interactions in the hall each moment, searching for new small details. Each rewatch seems to reveal another quiet choice that supports the larger transformation. The cane is held a certain way. The candle is carried with a specific care. The coat moves with the body rather than against it. These are the kinds of observations that turn a single appearance into ongoing conversation. What stands out most is the decision to treat the public appearance as an extension of the role rather than as a separate event. The character was allowed to exist in the real world for a few hours, and the people who encountered him responded as if they had stepped into the story. That willingness to blur the line between promotion and performance is the quality fans keep returning to. It feels consistent with the kind of work that has always drawn audiences to these characters in the first place. The videos will keep circulating, new fans will discover them and experience the same delayed recognition. Longtime followers will continue to notice fresh details each time they watch. The central image remains the same. A figure in Victorian dress steps into a modern street, and for a moment the two worlds sit side by side without conflict. The detail that makes it work is the completeness of the transformation. Everything from the skin texture to the rhythm of speech was considered and executed with care. That care is what people are responding to, and it is the reason the moment continues to feel worth talking about. The surprise itself was carefully staged, yet it never felt forced. The set was ready, the performers were in place, the crowd was already gathering. When the door opened, the pieces simply fit. The result was a living piece of the film that anyone present could experience directly. That directness is rare, and it is another reason the clips hold attention. There is no distance between the performance and the audience. The character is right there speaking and moving and reacting in real time. Fans who stood close enough to hear the quieter remarks describe a voice that stayed low and measured. The volume never rose above what the character would use. Even when addressing a large group, the tone remained consistent. That control is yet another small detail that supports the larger illusion. Nothing broke the surface of the performance. The world of the story held from the first step outside the door until the final exit from the stage. The combination of craft and spontaneity is what gives the appearance its lasting quality. The makeup and costume were prepared with precision. The physical choices were rehearsed, yet the interactions with the crowd felt open and responsive. Questions were answered in character. Observations were made in character the entire time the figure remained inside the role. That balance between preparation and presence is the detail that many people say they notice most clearly after watching the footage more than once. As the conversation continues, the focus stays on the work itself. The transformation is examined frame by frame. The reactions are shared and compared. The trailer is watched alongside the street clips so the continuity becomes visible. The same face, the same posture, the same careful physicality appear in both. The promotional moment and the finished film begin to feel like parts of one continuous effort. That continuity is part of what makes the detail feel significant. The event took place only a short time ago, yet it already has the shape of a story people will tell for years. Someone will say they were there when the door opened. Someone else will say they watched the video the same night and felt the same surprise. The common element in every version is a recognition that arrived a beat later than expected. That delayed recognition is the detail that sits at the center of the title, and it is the detail that continues to draw people back to the footage. If this moment made you pause and smile the way it did for so many others, then take a second to share the video with someone who loves these kinds of quiet surprises. Leave a comment with the exact detail that caught your eye first. Subscribe if you want more honest looks at the performances that stay with people long after the cameras stop. The next time a small choice on screen or on the street feels bigger than expected, you will already be here to notice it together.